Thank you for joining this session of the Cybersecurity Summit. My name is Hugo Vliegen and I run product management at Aryaka. We all know that hybrid work is here to stay. Many of us will continue to work between the home and the office. This raises the bar for delivering security together with networking in a highly distributed environment. What's not often discussed is the need to deliver a consistent and high-performance application experience for the everywhere worker. I will discuss here the Aryaka approach, how networking and security need to be brought together to deliver a delightful and agile experience. I hope you enjoy this talk. First, let me tell a little bit more about Aryaka. Aryaka has been around for more than 10 years, and in those years we have built an extensive private global network consisting of more than 40 plus pubs, with which we are able to reach 95% of the knowledge workers. Our approach is a cloud-first approach of deliver WAN and security systems, and we have hundreds of customers who are basically enjoying a managed SD-WAN and a managed SASE solution. A little bit more about Aryaka's approach. It's an all-in-one approach which basically integrates three categories. Number one, we are a software company. All the POPs and the software within it, and as well the CPEs, all the software within those devices are built by Aryaka from the ground up. And we integrate third-party solutions like Checkpoint as well to deliver that global managed experience. At the other end, we are as well an MSP. You can come to Aryaka and get a complete white glove service in order to deliver solutions for your company. But at the same time, we as well a telco or a carrier, because we combine connectivity and first mile and middle mile services with our solution. So Aryaka is basically integrating all of these three categories, and by that we target to deliver a very agile, a very high performance converged experience for our customers. Let's talk about the mega shifts driving the architectural disruption. If we talk about architectural disruption, we're talking about the convergence of networking and security. Now, the first disruption obviously is a shift of workloads. Workloads are moving away from traditional data centers to any cloud. And that needs to happen as well with high levels of agility, because customers want to do that rapidly, that move, but as well it is going to be a multi-cloud work where customers and companies want to move workloads between different sets of clouds and between different sets of their own data center. So it's very agile in terms of how workloads are shifting. The other shift is obviously the workforce shift. That's the trend towards a hybrid workplace. But as well, that requires a lot of flexibility. That requires as well that we're moving away from static perimeter security to a more dynamic, pervasive security for connecting all these workers, right? And the other thing which is happening as well, the expectation shift. We're moving to a world of convenience and simplicity. It's not anymore good enough that you have do-it-yourself solutions where it takes a lot of time to construct and roll out these solutions. It's very important that they are constructed as a service. They are constructed as a usage-based model, and that these services are on demand. So those three shifts, the workload shift, the workforce shift, the expectation shift, are driving this architectural disruption. And it means as well that traditional networking is going to be ripe for change. Security has to be dealt in a different way. It has to be integrated, it has to be consumable, and it has to really be multi-cloud friendly, and it has to support the hybrid worker, which can work from an office, it can work from home, and it should be able to access any resource, whether it's cloud, whether a traditional data center, from any place. It's a huge change driving this disruption. Now, from an Aryaka point of view, we are seeing several value drivers and three capabilities. And if you look at these value drivers, they're basically organized around network as a service, security as a service, and delivering a very delightful experience. And delivering this delightful experience is done by a set of lifecycle services. If we look at the network, it's all about delivering a consistent network application performance everywhere. Very reliable, very predictable. And if you look at it, there are a bunch of functions which Aryaka already traditionally delivers, like app visibility, WAN optimization, SD-WAN, multi-cloud interconnects, etc. In terms of security, it's important to have a flexible perimeter. There are distributed users, there are distributed devices, and distributed apps. And we all know there are these functions like VPN as a service, firewall as a service, secure web gateway, and all set of threat prevention functions which are delivered as a service and combined with that network experience. And then in the bottom, if we talk about delivering a delightful experience, is about co-management. Very important, with options for white glove management services. But it all starts with co-management before you get to higher tiers of services. And of course, there is the topic of insights and SLA, alerts and notifications. So those are the drivers, the capabilities which have to come together as a single architecture, as a single experience. Moving on from here is that Aryaka has built over the years an architecture for flexibility. And if you talk about flexibility, number one, it's built on cloud principles, right? It's delivered from the cloud, and it allows you to connect any user. It allows you to connect branch offices. It allows you to connect headquarters and any cloud. But as well, it's very important that it's very agile. It should not take weeks and days in order to connect a new cloud asset. So in that view, for this cloud-first architecture, Aryaka has the on-ramps embedded as well. And then if you talk about security, there is the partnerships with Checkpoint Security, which allows you basically to run a CloudGuard edge firewall to run it, for example, on an Aryaka CPE, which is called an ANAP. So that provides flexibility, but as well how security is embedded within those POPs, right, across the globes is an important element, where we as well have the option for customers to basically route that traffic from the Aryaka POPs to Harmony Connect. Now, Aryaka has built over the years an extensive network of POPs. They are connecting together, and traditionally have been connected together with a layer 2 network where Aryaka controls the SLAs, where Aryaka provides a lot of WAN optimization on that layer 2 network. And that layer 2 network provides a very high application performance, and is basically we can control that application performance. Now, what we have introduced very recently is a layer 3 private core, and that's for those customers who feel that they want something better than the internet. So there's a lot of customers who already moved away from MPLS. They adopted the internet with traditional SD-WAN, and they discovered that they need something better than the internet, but they don't want to go back to MPLS because that doesn't deliver the flexibility. And that's why the layer 3 private core comes in. It's optimized for cost, but it's very reliability. And we'll see that later on in the presentation, that reliability and predictability is a very important element of it. Now, the thing what we have done in Aryaka is that customers can mix and match. They can have part of the network and branch offices and workers running over the layer 2 private core or the layer 3 private core. Moving from here, I think it's important to double click on the architecture on the hood. And obviously, Aryaka's philosophy is to have a network of services POPs which are meshed together with either a layer 2 private core or a layer 3 private core, that doesn't matter. And obviously you can connect very rapidly, you can connect workers, offices, and you can connect different variations of the cloud. Now, in terms of the functions, we're talking within the POP, we're talking about network aggregation, we're talking about VPN as a service, we're talking about WAN optimization, and obviously with the topic of security, we're talking about firewall as a service, antivirus scanning, and so on. The Aryaka Flex Core is engineered with flexibility in mind. It consists of that layer 2 private core and layer 3 private core. And offices, cloud, and users basically can take advantage of either the layer 2 private core or the layer 3 private core. The way to think about this is that the layer 2 and layer 3 private core are engineered as their separate slices. And those slices are connected to the POPs. And the POPs decides whether to use the layer 2 private core and the layer 3 private core. The layer 2 private core is basically providing this guaranteed application performance, because under the hood there are dark fiber links with high levels of WAN optimization delivered from the cloud. Layer 3 private core is basically using DIA links from tier 1 providers, and Aryaka basically has a strategy to use different tier 1 providers per POP per region, because not every tier 1 providers provide the same performance in every region. So that's why probably we have something between 20 to 25 tier 1 providers terminated, and we basically control the SLAs. And the other thing which we are doing, we eliminated any peering, so that we basically can provide a layer 3 private performance with high levels of uptimes, high levels of predictability, which provides a better experience than the regular internet, but is still very cost effective. Let's look at the network performance of the different networks, the Aryaka core versus the internet. Then we are seeing that if you have a site-to-site transfer between sites, that obviously the layer 2 private core is faster than the layer 3 private core and is faster than the internet. And obviously the internet performance varies. As well, if we look at database download like FTP transfers or other data transfer, we are seeing that the layer 2 private core and the layer 3 private core are better than the internet. But again, the performance of the internet really varies day by day, hour by hour. Let's look at another metric, the metric of application performance. To the left, there's a test done under very heavy stress to simulate network congestion, right? And we all know that in the case of network congestion, that application transaction errors increases. And a result of application transaction errors, the application becomes very choppy, right? And in the case of the internet, which is not controllable, it's best effort. Even with SD-WAN, you will see that as a result of the application transaction errors, the application will slow down, there may be drop packets, there is increased latency, and it doesn't result in a greater experience. And the case with the layer 2 private core, layer 3 private core, it's all very reliable, it's all very predictable, and it results in the fact that the application feels much faster with less problems and not very high latency. To the right, there is a test done in a situation where we're basically simulating a database or a cloud experience with a lot of modifications and reloads and uploads. And if you compare that, then obviously the internet is less predictable. Of course, it depends on the quality of the internet connection at a given moment, because the internet performance is various, it's not very predictable. But at the end of the day, if you want to have a predictable experience, then you will benefit from a layer 2 private core and a layer 3 private core. And the biggest difference in this situation is that the layer 2 private core provides a guaranteed application performance, while the layer 3 private core provides a high predictable link. I would like to touch on the topic of application assurance. Application assurance is the ability of companies to discover any application on the network, to classify them, to visualize them, control it, and simplify it. And under the hood, it's enabled by a deep packet inspection engine which is placed within the network. The Aryaka approach is that we control the underlay network. And by controlling the underlay network, we are really able to correlate the performance application with the underlay network. That's a fundamental different approach compared to traditional SD-WAN networks, where overlay networks are used, and those overlay networks are overlaid across internet, they are overlaid across the MPLS. As a result of it, the really true visibility and correlation between the behavior of the application and between the underlying network is lost. So that's where Aryaka differs between traditional SD-WAN providers. Another key ingredient is the Aryaka Portal, which provides a single pane of glass for enterprises to manage the experience of their hybrid workers. It doesn't matter whether they are at home, whether they are at the office, whether they have to change a certain QoS policy, whether they have to troubleshoot the application performance, or whether they have to set certain security policies. Provide a single co-managed pane of glass as a service for corporations. Let's now move on to the topic of server delivery. Rolling out SASE solutions to hybrid workforces is pretty complex, not only because of the security requirements or the distributed nature and the scale, but as well as for the need to deliver a very agile, flexible system which provide a high performance experience to the end user. Aryaka's approach is to provide a resilient and self-healing systems, which is characterized by multi-level redundancies, automated software upgrades, and preventive maintenance. As well, the approach of Aryaka is analytics driven, where Aryaka is using millions of data points in combination with predictive analytics and proactive problem management. The agility of service management is very important. The approach within Aryaka is to provide a co-managed experience, integrated workflows, and collaborative support models where the customer and the Aryaka support team work hand in hand together. I hope you enjoyed this talk. More information you can find at our website www.aryaka.com or drop us a line at info@aryaka.com. Thank you and have a nice day.